This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Thousands of people have packed Hobart's waterfront to see history made in the Sydney-Hobart Yacht Race with a new time record. Wild Oats 11 was the first across the line last night, almost half an hour in front of rival Comanche. But the crew faces a tense wait to see if they'll be facing a time penalty for a near collision.
After more than 1,000 kilometres, it came down to this: the leading Supermaxis locked in a Storm Bay showdown. Comanche had been leading most of the day, powering down Tasmania's east coast with 30-knot winds. But as the sun was setting over Hobart, calmer conditions prevailed, and so too did Wild Oats 11. With its lighter weight, now a competitive advantage.
Comanche's led the whole way down the coast, right to the iron pot, and now we've got Wild Oats in the lead. So it's going to be very interesting to the finish.
Crowds lined vantage points across Storm Bay. This was the view for families at Mount Nelson, keen to watch the spectacle as Wild Oats 11 made a good pace near South Arm.
With the daughter and granddaughter and a few chips and stuff like that, and had a lovely evening watching the yachts.
And potentially seeing a record made.
Oh yeah. It's history in the making.
The best vantage point perhaps on the water, as a flotilla escorted the leader to a record-breaking finish. Finally, in the darkness at 9:48, Wild Oats 11 crossing the finish line. Completing the Sydney-Hobart in 1 day, 8 hours, 48 minutes and 50 seconds, shaving more than 4.5 hours off the previous record. Elation as the crew pulled into Constitution Dock. This is the 9th time Wild Oats 11 was first across the line.
I would have thought last year it wasn't going to happen, and I thought this year Comanche was going to crush it, and to be here before them is, words can't express how belated we all are.
Crowds lining the waterfront to soak up the excitement and atmosphere of the Sydney-Hobart Yacht Race.
The crowds have been building since about 8 in anticipation. Took a little bit while to come in there as the wind died down coming up the street. But no, worth the wait.
There was a lot of blue and a lot of grey, but I mean the whole excitement thing, I've never seen it before. I'm from Sydney.
But amid the celebrations, a cloud was hanging over Wild Oats 11, with a threat of a penalty of 5 minutes or more for a near collision with its rival Comanche. That team lodged a protest over this incident in Sydney Harbour. Wild Oats tacking in front of Comanche, leading to a very close call.
It cost us significant time, and you know they broke a rule, so it's up to the jury now to decide whether they think they broke a rule. That's our view.
I think it was totally innocent, and we should be able to defend ourselves against that situation pretty clearly.
But regardless of the protest outcome, last night the wine flowed. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
And in developing news, an international jury is now deliberating over the Sydney-Hobart protest. This afternoon, members of the Wild Oats 11 team and Comanche were called to give evidence at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. On the line is a time penalty of 5 minutes or more for Wild Oats, which crossed the finish line 26 minutes ahead of Comanche. We'll bring you the result later in the Bulletin. 4 men have sparked a land, sea and air investigation after failing to let authorities know they were safe when their boat capsized. Police found this fishing boat near St Helens yesterday with an esky full of beer floating nearby. Dozens of officers and volunteers were deployed to search for the men, along with a rescue helicopter and a police boat. The search was called off when the group was found snorkelling at another location.
Unfortunately, in their eagerness to get back on with their lives, they overlooked notifying any authorities of what had occurred. At this stage, I understand there's no remorse being shown.
Charges may be laid under marine safety laws. A couple have been taken to hospital after their car ploughed into their next-door neighbour's home on the outskirts of Launceston earlier this afternoon. The occupants of the St Leonard's home were in the backyard when the car came crashing into the side of their property.
I was out in the shed and I've just heard a big bang and come running out to the road thinking it might be a major accident because it was pretty loud, and come to the side of the house and realised that next door neighbours put the car through our land room.
Police say the driver's foot got caught reversing back and hitting his wheelchair-bound partner. He then panicked and accelerated into the neighbour's house, both receiving serious injuries. The family in the home escaped uninjured but have been left with a hefty damage bill. We have some breaking news on the Sydney-Hobart yacht race now. An international jury has found against Wild Oats, penalising it by an hour. In a major upset, that now means Comanche is the line honours winner. And we'll have more on that in sport for you. Campaign bickering has already begun ahead of next year's state election. Labor is attacking the government for its latest television advertisements, which focus on the recent 4-year Labor Green Accord. The government not biting though, instead focusing on reeling in voters with a new election promise.
Clearing the waters for new infrastructure. The government sailing into next year's election, committing $30,000 towards a new jetty and pontoon at Beauty Point.
Here in the north on the Tamar River, all along Bass Strait, this yacht club provides the only fuelling point, publicly accessible fuelling point.
But the announcement overshadowed by Labor's claims the government is running a negative election campaign.
We've seen the Premier come out a month ago, promised to run a positive campaign in the lead up to the 2018 election, and he's already broken that promise. We've seen relentless negative advertising from the Liberal Party over the Christmas period.
Fierce campaigning has started, and for the government, it's just the beginning.
It hasn't really started yet. You know, there's still some way to go in this election campaign. So we say to the Labor Party, get used to it. We'll be telling Tasmanians exactly what a Labor Green government in minority looks like.
Remember, between 2010 and 2014, Rebecca White was in a Labor Green minority government. For 4 years, Tasmanians suffered.
Taking to the screens, the Liberals say,
this campaigning is called compare and contrast. It's our job to put before the Tasmanian people the options that they will have in March.
We know this is a government that's sat on their hands for 3.5 years, effectively done nothing, and now they're trying to win the election with relentless negativity.
Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
The Taste of Tasmania has kicked off in fine fashion, with big crowds drawn to the first day of the revamped festival. But as the event grows, the Hobart City Council is calling for more partnerships to ease the cost burden for its ratepayers.
A fanfare weaving its way through Salamanca this morning, signalling the festival atmosphere about to take over Hobart's waterfront. The Lord Mayor donning the full garb to launch the summer landmark.
Welcome to the Taste of Tasmania for 2017. Yay!
The opening an emotional moment for those who've worked to revamp the festival. Opening the gates and unleashing a crowd racing to get the best spots.
With weather like today, it's a cracker day, so we are hoping to get around the 50,000 through the gates today.
Today, the revamped taste revealed to the public, with rethinking for every space, theming, decorations and rearrangements.
It's such a sensory experience to be at a food and wine festival. The best thing we can do is give people an amazing atmosphere to enjoy it and soak it up.
Bringing a focus back onto local produce. This year, organisers encouraged smaller operators to get involved. The fromagerie is a team effort of several cheesemakers working together in the one stall.
For us, it's about showcasing the very best of small business in Tasmania and the very best of cheese in Tasmania as well. We do cheese so well.
The event is shouldered by the Hobart City Council and heavily subsidised by its ratepayers. The Lord Mayor says this is the first year the state government has waived the hire fee for the Princes Wharf 1 shed, saving around $100,000. But organisers are on the lookout for more support.
You have to look at every level of government. Everyone's only got so much money, and so what we need to do is more partnerships. We need to work together, and that might be not necessarily in dollar value, but it might be in partnerships in marketing.
The taste runs until the 3rd of January. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Thousands of revellers prepare to converge on Marion Bay tomorrow for the annual Falls Festival. Tasmania Police says it will be providing a high-profile presence at the event, including uniformed and plainclothes officers. Random breath testing will be conducted in the area throughout the 3 days, with drug detection dogs also on site. Police say anyone acting in an antisocial way will be removed from the festival. A man has been charged after driving with a handheld torch to light up the road because his headlights headlights were broken. Police were dumbfounded when they came across the heavy vehicle on the Midland Highway near Oatlands last night.
When Tasmania Police get reports of incidents like this, we can do nothing but shake our heads and realise that it's just a battle we keep fighting.
Police issued a further 119 speeding tickets on day 6 of Operation Crossroads. Returning to our developing news tonight, a protest has been upheld against Wild Oats 11 in the Sydney-Hobart yacht race. It's been penalised by an hour, meaning it's lost the line honours title to Comanche. This afternoon, Wild Oats skipper Mark Richards and Comanche skipper Jim Cooney gave evidence to a hearing at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania. The teams were at odds over Wild Oats 11's tack in front of Comanche in Sydney Harbour. A representative of the jury handed down the decision a short time ago.
Conclusions and rules that apply. Wild Oats 11 on port had to keep clear of LDV Comanche under Rule 10. Wild Oats 11 failed to keep clear while tacking.
Enormous relief, to be honest. I felt that we'd fought so hard, and to be fair, both boats worked extremely hard in the 30-odd hours it took us to get here.
Wild Oats celebrated last night after crossing the finish line almost half an hour in front of Comanche. No doubt Comanche will be doing the same this evening. Well, Tasmania's young bear maker has just returned home after being recognised for his tireless charity work on the world stage. 13-year-old Campbell Remis was one of 4 taking the title of the CNN Young Wonders in America last week.
He's made more than 400 bears and now he's travelled to New York for a prestigious award.
When I first got told about that you have to come over to New York, it was amazing. It was like, am I really? What am I doing? Like, it was very, very good.
4 years ago, Campbell Remis started making teddy bears by hand. Years later, his generosity grew into Project 365. His motive:
the mission of my project is to make people happy. Hello. Hi. It does get very lonely in hospital. I give them a bear and try and cheer them up a bit.
This year he began auctioning some of his bears to send children and their families on holidays.
That's for people that are going through cancer, that have gone through cancer treatment or have had a hard time with cancer. I raise enough money, book them on a cruise, and they get to go on a cruise ship anywhere around the world to relax with their family and have fun, make new memories.
The teen was the only non-American among the young invited.
It was actually just incredible. And then to know he's the only Australian to ever have that award, it just sort of makes you realise how big that is.
And now that he's home, he has no plans of slowing down. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Now a look at business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market has closed higher for a 3rd straight session ahead of the final trading day of the year. The ASX 200 index has risen by 18 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 77.96 US cents and just under 110 New Zealand cents.
As you heard earlier in the Bulletin, Wild Oats 11 has been stripped of Sydney Hobart line honours after an international jury ruled in favour of Comanche in shock news a short time ago. The jury ruled that Wild Oats failed to keep clear while tacking, with the Super Maxi penalised by 1 hour.
Sunset over the Derwent, red sky at night, sailor's delight for the crew of Wild Oats 11. The sheer lack of wind giving the Super Maxi the edge over arch rival LDV Comanche.
This is amazing racing.
And an amazing view for the man up the mast. Hardly racing at all, this stately procession, after yesterday absolutely screaming down the coast before a 30-knot northerly.
Well, they look like they're having a pretty good time.
Comanche led almost all the way, but at the home turn, her narrow lead evaporated.
Now, Comanche, for a few minutes there, just stopped dead.
The lighter Wild Oats 11 slipping by to cross the line in 1 day, 8 hours and 48 minutes, smashing the record by more than 4.5 hours. An extraordinary 9th line honours victory for Wild Oats.
Thought this year Comanche was going to crush it, and to be here before them is, words can't express.
Richards took the trouble to congratulate Comanche on a great race. Almost a half hour behind, they were philosophical.
It's not the first time it's happened in the Derwent River. Guarantee it won't be the last time.
This time, the champagne belonged to Wild Oats.
But any real celebrations would have to wait for this afternoon's protest hearing here at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania for an international jury of 5 expert yachtsmen. Comanche claims Wild Oats forced a near collision at Tuesday's start, and after a 3-hour hearing, the jury decided Wild Oats was in the wrong.
The decision, Wild Oats 11, is in lieu of a disqualification, penalised a time penalty of 1 hour to be added to her elapsed time.
I honestly didn't expect to protest in order to win the race. It was all about our actions in order to avoid a collision.
A shattering verdict. Wild Oats was 26 minutes ahead of Comanche, now 34 minutes behind. Meanwhile, there's the contest for overall handicap winner, with Matt Allen's 52-footer Ichiban in line to indeed be number 1.
Fingers crossed, we'll be looking at the computer tracker and keeping our fingers and toes crossed.
Meantime, multi-hole Peccadillo has taken line honours in the Melbourne to Devonport yacht race this afternoon, while Dream was the first mono-hull over the line. Meanwhile, Tilt and Fork in the Road are neck and neck in the Launceston to Hobart. The pair is now passing Freycinet National Park after the field spent most of last night stuck near Cape Portland in the state's northeast due to a lack of wind. Organisers expect the winners to cross the line late tomorrow. Commonwealth Games hopeful Jack Hale appears to be in career-best form, with a Tasmanian sprinter taking out the Latrobe Gift overnight, while cyclist Lauren Perry looks to have put an illness-plagued 18 months behind her, beating a class field to claim the 2,000-metre race.
With a long-awaited win in the Carnival Series at stake, the 19-year-old showed what training in Melbourne for the better part of the year has done for his track speed, storming home in the 120-metre Gift, 50 days out from Commonwealth Games selection trials on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I feel really happy with it all. I mean, as I said, it's nice to come out in front of the home crowd and get a win. So, and do it in a quick time that correlates to a quick time on an actual track. So, for me, I'm over the moon with the win and over the moon with how it runs.
Abby Chapman was the quickest of the women, holding off rivals Amy Petter and Laura Downey to claim her second Latrobe Gift.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I just wanted to make a final. So, I can't believe that I won again, and only 2 years after I won last time.
But perhaps the gutsiest win of the night belonged to 21-year-old Launceston cyclist Lauren Perry, coming off 18 months of battling illness and beating out the likes of Amy Cure and Macy Stewart to collect a $3,000 winner's cheque in the women's 2,000-metre event, with Perry now setting her sights on Tokyo in 2020.
It's been really hard not being able to do what I want to do, but I can definitely see things paying off now. Now that I'm a bit fitter, my body's able to cope with a bit more load, which is good. Everything's starting to go in the right direction again.
Sam Welsford was never in doubt in the men's wheel race, joining Steve Plate as the fastest winner in the event's 121-year history as he became a 3-time champion.
Obviously, looking forward to Burnie. Like I said, I want to try do the 3P at Burnie, so that's when I want to target, definitely.
And New Zealand chopper Jack Jordan upstaged Tasmania's best, with a Kiwi coming back from a slow start to break through first in the men's underhand elimination title to win the first of 4 World Championships for the Carnival Series.
Yeah, over the moon. Sort of probably been 12 months since I've had a big win individually like that, and to win a world title over here, it's incredible.
Meantime, Lauren Perry and Sam Welsford are looking to collect more silverware at Launceston Carnival tonight. Tom Johnson filed this report from the Silverdome a short time ago.
Well, the main events are just getting started here in Launceston, and I can tell you all eyes are going to be on Lauren Perry to see if she can back up last night's win in Latrobe. She's been the bridesmaid a number of times now here in Launceston, but organisers are expecting the local crowd to get right behind her.
I think Lauren Perry's win at Latrobe yesterday was something that was a real Cinderella story after her illness.
Meanwhile, 21-year-old Sam Welsford won the Launceston Wheel in 2015 before making a shock exit before the finals last year. He's up against another very solid field this time around.
Well, the man who won the Alderson Criterium, Cam Smith, he's going to be up there. Nick Yularis from New South Wales as well, and then you go into the internationals, and it will be interesting to see whether the Polish world champion Adrian Teklinski can do something tonight. He's been a bit quiet in his first 2 outings, maybe he's saving himself for the boards tonight.
The events are running right up until 9 o'clock tonight. We'll have a full wrap tomorrow at 6.
Good evening. Well, normally after 3 days of cricket, we're celebrating a victory. Maybe I've got the tie out too early. I'll save it for later in the week. Well, the weather today, what about that? After the rain went through, we had a fine, humid day. 32 for Hobart, Launceston 29, Burnie 27, Devonport 24 today. 33 was the top at Friendly Beaches, Campania and Hobart Airport, as temperatures bounced back above average, some by up to 15 degrees above average. Ouse, Bushy Park and Fingal 32. St Helens and Grove 31. It was 30 at Cressy and Tunnock. Flinders Island recorded 29 today, Wynyard 27, Lowhead and Lyowini 22, King Island and Strawn 21 degrees. A cold front has clouds south of the Bight, reaching up over Western Australia. The monsoon trough and tropical cyclone Hilda responsible for the cloud further north, and a broad area of clouds south of that system is streaming over central Australia. Well, the rain band quickly swept through in the early hours this morning, replaced by mainly fine sunny skies, some low cloud over the seas near our west and southeast coasts, and patchy afternoon convective cloud picked up too over the rest of the state. Tomorrow the cold front moves to our east, to high pressure ridges over the southern part of the nation, with another over the east separated by troughs. Another front is approaching the Bight, so a bit going on. West to northwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, but easterly over the east coast and tending north-northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots during the afternoon. Swells sitting below 3 metres. Strong wind warning for waters between Southeast Cape and Sandy Cape, and we have a very high fire danger for the Midlands, East Coast and northeast. Early shower for Hobart tomorrow, clearing 24 the top, 24 for Huonville, partly cloudy for Campania, 26 degrees. Launceston partly cloudy and 25, 22 for Devonport, Georgetown same forecast and 23 degrees. Burnie partly cloudy and 22. Maybe a late shower for Strawn and 21, 22 the high for Wynyard. For St Helens tomorrow, bit of cloud about but fine and warm, 25, 21 for Swansea. Port Arthur maybe a shower and 22 degrees. UV very high over Hobart, extreme for the rest of the state. On to Saturday, showers over the west and south, mostly clearing in the afternoon and evening. Sunny weather back on Sunday for all apart from the west and far south. And on New Year's Day, another shower over the west and far south with just a possibility of a shower elsewhere. Sunny in Perth, partly cloudy but fine for Adelaide, Sydney and Darwin. A shower or two forecast for Melbourne tomorrow with 25 degrees and a possible shower for Brisbane. Little cloudy over Hobart, cooling down to 18 degrees. It's 25 in Launceston right now and partly cloudy in Devonport and 20 degrees. Weather shaping up pretty well for the Taste and also the Falls Festival. And fingers crossed, a pretty good New Year's Eve for everyone apart from the West Coast Rach, but they're used to handling the rain pretty well there.
Yes, they breathe them tough down there, that's for sure. Thanks for that, Murph. Well, that's all on Southern Cross News for this Thursday, the 28th of December. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.